Welcome everybody to your weekly Frax Check, your Frax Vibe Check. I am your host, Capital K, and I'm joined by my co-host, DeFi Dave, and our producer extraordinaire, Sam. We'll be going straight to the source of truth via checking the chain. Quick hat tip to Seba for being the Dune Wizard and putting it together. Thank you, Seba. But before we jump in, please subscribe to the Flywheel Pod on YouTube. We're already past 500 subs, but this is our march to 1,000, so let's get it. And also, make sure you follow us on Twitter and Telegram at Flywheelpod. Now, let's get after it. So, this week is the week of August 17th to August 23rd. First, we always start with a health check. What did the peg do this week? And this week, the peg got as low as 0.997 all the way up to 1.001. Frax Check intact. Now, how did it perform in the markets? So I would go to Curve and I would swap $100 million worth of Frax into USDC, and that is the exchange rate I received at 0.9990. Pretty solid market check. And then we look at the collateral percent. Currently, it's been 90.5%. It's also 90.5% last week, so nothing much has changed on the collateral front. However, in the decentralized percent, we did notice a little drop from, I believe, 18.5 to 18.3, so slightly down there. We got to figure out what's going on because we always want to see that number going up and up and up, given with the whole tornado cash situation. Now, after the health check, we always look at what's going on with the AMO. This slide, I call it the show me the money slide. We first take a look at the largest, or rather the four AMOs, Curve AMO, Liquidity AMO, Lending, and Investor. Starting with the Curve AMO, we see that it has 770 million, plus the Liquidity AMO of 117 million, Lending of 19 million, and Investor AMO 28 million. Total together comes out to be 934 million, which is actually down 10.7% since last week's check-in, Frax Check. So, and that's is expected given that the market has been drawing down since where we were last week, and the Investor AMO was definitely hit because of that. So now let's take a look at the profitability of these AMOs, right? We have revenue on the left-hand side here. We see that we made 2.8 million from CRV, 1 million from CVX, and 300K from FXX, giving us a revenue of 4.16 million for the month of August so far. That is an increase of 29%. On the expense side, we have to obviously pay for this revenue through bribes, and the bribes was 3.68 million so far in the month of August, plus a 540K operational spend from the Frax team and the weekly Frax gauge. The total expense comes out to be about 4.22 million, 4.22 million rather, and that's an increase of 67%. The reason why there is such a large increase on the expense side is because we have to pay the Vodium bribes in 2-week periods, and we have to prepay the bribes before we receive the revenue. And the Vodium bribes just closed on Monday, August 22nd, literally yesterday. So as a snapshot as of today for the month of August, we are around flat. We're down 60K, which is a negative 91% change since last week's Frax Check. But like I said, over the next 2 weeks, we're going to earn that revenue back from paying the bribes. So no worries. Let's now take a look at the liquidity check. So the Frax-based pool, TVL, has reached 771 million. And that is currently 87% of the 3 pool. Like, that's pretty damn awesome. Like, this is the flippening that I'm waiting to see happen. And that 71 million equals to a 15% change since last week. Now, the meta pool TVL, it is the meta flippening. The Curve's meta flippening. I think this could totally be a narrative. We should totally tweet this out. But the meta pool TVL has reached 49.7 million. That is a 48% increase since last week's check-in, which is crazy. Like, absolutely ludicrous, right? Last week, I believe we were at 30
Crazy.
something, like 33, 34, something like that. And now we're at 50. Like, wow. Circulating
Nice.
supply. This is the Frax circulating supply. It's kind of boring. It only changed 1.2% over the week over week. And we're now at about 1.4 billion, just like we were last week. So nothing really changed on the liquidity of the circulating Frax supply, but everything else, pretty solid. And this has been your weekly Frax Check, brought to you by myself, Capital K, my co-host DeFi Dave, and our producer, Sam. Now I'm going to hand it over to DeFi Dave to talk to you about some governance for the week.
Okay, let's get this started. So the first post I want to draw attention to is this recent post in the Frax forum 6 hours ago. A community member posting something to start a conversation about seeking legal advice because of the whole Faye situation. Mm-hmm. For those who are unfamiliar what happened, Faye Rory suffered a hack months ago. $80 million was drained. Previously, the Faye community, the tribe community voted to repay all the hack victims. A month passed by. Their quote-unquote board of directors voted against that and put it up to a revote. The revote actually got voted down, and so this whole thing happened, and like there was silence for a while, and then a new proposal came back to actually repay the tribe holders and small lenders first, and leave Frax with like only getting back 2 cents on the dollar, 3 cents on the dollar. Sam is particularly very upset. He wrote a very viral thread expressing his thoughts, and I think we're just seeing the beginning of this. I really hope there's a remedy to the situation, and this post is simply suggesting that the Frax community seek actual legal advice. I actually want to point to this proposal in the Olympus forum that was posted 2 hours ago, posted by a fellow named Shadow, and this is calling for the full reimbursement of the affected parties of the whole Rari hack, and it's being done by actually vote incentivizing tribe holders. And this is actually the first time I've seen like straight up open bribing to have like voters of a protocol to vote a certain way. So Kiet, what are your thoughts on this proposal in the Olympus forum?
Dude, this is like bleeding edge governance right here. Like,
yeah,
you're right. I haven't yet to seen something so kind of interconnected of like a completely separate DAO, a victim of the exploit, bribing the token holders to basically make them whole. But you have to really wonder, why would a tribe token holder want to make Olympus whole, right? Because they get to keep,
whole? Yeah,
or Frax whole, because they want to keep more of the treasury for themselves, right? As tribe token holders. And if Olympus end up bribing enough for it to be kind of a parity deal, then is that even profitable for Olympus to do so?
Yeah,
I don't know.
You gotta wonder if it's profitable for Olympus. Like, if Frax joins in, like, is it profitable for Frax? Maybe they can do something together. I'm sure there will be a bunch of different kind of solutions to the situation that will come up within like the next week or 2 weeks. But the whole thing all around is very messy. I think it really goes to show like that it's not all like, you know, flowers and roses and this and that, and like it's kind of a shame to see like, you know, like this like like how like goodwill can be taken advantage of. Basically, like, you know, I remember Sam in the Twitter Spaces when the $80 million hack happened, and he stood by Faye and Rari, and he like was really like, you know, kind of like an elder figure in the whole space, and calmed everyone down and stood by them, and like just seeing like Faye stab him in the back like this is like honestly disgusting. Like there's no other words to describe it but like disgusting. And I think like actions like this is what brings like unnecessary attention to DeFi. It shows like, you know, like we basically can't handle like a simple like something that would be like standard in like the traditional financial world, like, okay, you pay back your creditors first and then you pay back your equity holders. Like it like brings unwanted attention from like regulators in the space, and like just seeing like people get taken advantage of like this. So I'm hoping that like the Faye community comes to their senses. Like, you know, I think like I'm like an optimist at heart, so like I'm hoping like there's like time and people like come to their senses, but otherwise it's just gonna get like just messy like in
I
the
agree.
future. So,
but dude, don't you think
yeah.
that they had a revote on the initial vote to pay people back, right?
And they have the funds to pay him back. That's the crazy thing.
But
Like,
here's
it's
the
not
thing,
like
though.
they don't have the. Yeah,
But
yeah.
dude,
Go ahead.
Even if Olympus and Frax bribe and the tri-voter voted, the multi-sig who holds the treasury could still be like, nah, let's do another vote, right? Because didn't they do that the first time already? They're like, hey, let's vote again. So
yeah, that's a good point. Yeah,
does it even matter?
I don't know.
This comes to a
Doesn't
point where
even
like,
matter.
Yeah.
Yeah, if they control. Yeah, that's a really good point.
This is a shit situation, to be completely frank.
mean, like, it's a terrible situation, and like I feel it's like something for such like short-term gain, like a few $1 million. So like at like the end of like a failing protocol, like, are you really gonna like give up your reputation and like 30 years of your future career just for like a few $1 million? Like, I don't know. It's kind of asinine in my opinion. like, are you not thinking like this? I don't know. Like, I have my thoughts obviously, and I'm obviously biased as like a Fraximalist, but how do you feel?
I mean, dude, Fraximalist or not, it is a very clear capital structure. You pay your creditors first, and then you pay the equity or the token holders in this sense, not equity, token holders. And just it's the right thing to do to pay those you owe money to.
Yeah. So we'll see how this situation evolves. We'll see what happens with this governance. Let's vote. We're definitely going to be keeping track of it on here, on your weekly Frax Check.
Spicy.
But let's move on to the next thing. Something that I've actually been leading. So a little bit of back. So this is a proposal that I actually posted, the FS MLP gauge proposal. So like a little bit of background here, like something like I like would love to personally see is like Frax to increase its circulation on rollups. I see, I've said this multiple times. Tether, that is the stablecoin of centralized exchanges. USDC, that's the stablecoin of ETH on and off ramp DeFi. The stablecoin for rollups is yet to be determined. And so I think like Frax could like really become when put in the right position, could become like the de facto stablecoin of these rollups. So like something like that I like notice, and like something that I notice is just this whole real yield trend, and like how Umami, they launched their USDC vault with GMX, and I'm just like, oh, it would be really cool to increase Frax usage by having like a Frax denominated vault somehow. And so, and also like I think protocols in general, like especially after the whole Tornado Cash situation, they want to reduce their reliance on USDC. That whole like the whole like blacklisting of a protocol, just like that really scared a lot of people, and you saw that in the aftermath when like the curve balance of USDC was dropped because people were just like going towards spooked. Tether, which is they were spooked. And so there's this like I think like people are like thinking about let's reduce our reliance of USDC, but now it's like actually here. And Frax is like Frax and DAI are like the two best options because they're the stable coins that can scale, and especially Frax. I think in the way that it's built and structured is like how it like functions is in a very special position to like take a large market share in my opinion. So what I was thinking with this proposal when I posted it, it was like, okay, like in order for Frax to increase increase its use, it will have to like increase its allocation on this FS MLP gauge. So like MLP is mycelium. Think of it as like a GMX fork. And so mycelium is from the Tracer guys. They came out with this.
Yep.
And so I'm thinking like, okay, like let's incentivize like liquidity here. I'm thinking like they will act in good faith to increase the allocation. And so like I posted this after like a few conversations with the Tracer community and like a few people in the Frax community. After a few more conversations, I like, the thing with governance, and like I want everyone to know this, like it's a process. It's never just like a straight clean shot, like, yeah, we're going to get it done super fast. Like, no, it's never like that. It's like always like a back and forth. And so like, I think like here, like something like where I kind of went wrong was like, why would like FXS like, incentivize the entire gauge if it's only like a few percentage points? So what would make more sense in the future is like, if there's like a future proposal, whether it's for like mycelium or GMX, is just to like be a Frax specific denominated vault, not just like FXX gauge for like the entire for the entire LP. Are you following me so far?
Yeah, I'm following.
Okay. And so like there was a little bit of like conversation here, from like Dennett, who's like a core team member. You had like C2TP chime in. You had Squelch chime in as well, who's a member of the Mycelium team. And so like I'm actually like I told like Nader, who's the core team member that's in charge of like the shepherd of governance, I call him, is like put this on hold for now. And also like it was going to be on hold anyway, because something I wanted to point out was Umami actually closed their USDC vault on GMX. It just wasn't performing how they wanted.
Yep.
And they're just going to prioritize V2 vaults. And I actually like have to give like a round of applause and really give credit to the Umami team for being proactive and transparent and shutting it down. Not everything you do like works out. And so like kudos to them for like being proactive in that regard. It could have been a lot worse. They could have just, it could have gotten hacked. They could have just like let it going, but they shut it down. Everybody got reimbursed, and like this is DeFi, so like you just go back to the drawing board and you try again. And so like we don't have to like rush into this. But like another development I wanted to point out in all of this is Mr. Crypto Condom actually posted in the GMX governance to increase the Frax allocation in GLP by 3% and decrease USDCs by 3%. So this was posted a few days ago. This has actually been getting a ton of support within the GMX community. And so like this is a good first step for, increasing just Frax in general on Arbitrum. And from here, like Umami, let's say it like goes up to 5% and even 10%, Umami can like build their V2 strategy on this. And another thing that I wanted to point out and that I learned in this whole process is like spot liquidity is actually quite thin on Arbitrum. And the reason why you have GMX and like other like swap, the reason why you have GMX being so popular is because like Oracle swaps are the only things that can handle like large volumes. Like there's GMX or Mycelium, like that's the only thing that works on GMX right now. There isn't enough spot liquidity. And so like when it comes to like rebalancing the GLP pool or like the MLP pool in the future, like there's going to need to be spot liquidity for Ethereum, for WBTC, for the other assets. And so it's just like not there. So like this is actually like a really good opportunity for Frax to like and for FraxSwap on Arbitrum to increase like liquidity on there for Frax ETH pairs, Frax WBTC pairs. And and actually have like protocol liquidity there, like Frax and like earn fees, and like once like all like the stars align and the pieces like get lined up together, I think this could be like a very virtuous cycle for both native Frax primitives like FraxSwap and also like future Frax partners like GMX and GLP. And like this GLP is like actually quite promising, and this is like definitely a very good first step towards just increasing Frax usage overall, because I think it's becoming definitely a priority to reduce USDC reliance, and Frax is like the best alternative out there in my opinion, and like the alternative that is willing to like proactively work with their partners. Like something that Sam has always said is like for every $1 you work with Frax, you'll get more than $1 value out of it. And so that's how that's how we roll as fractionalists. So
100%.
What are your thoughts? What are your thoughts on that so far?
Dude, the whole time you were saying this roll up, like Frax on a roll up, Frax on a roll up, my mind instantly went to a Arbitrum AMO, right?
Yeah.
There needs to be something on Arbitrum, like you said, to help spur up the liquidity as well as increase Frax's presence. And I think there was a very obvious fit that you pointed out. Low liquidity, Frax has liquidity. Kind of, like, 1 and 2.
Yeah, Frax has like the tools to, spur Arbitrum activity and action. It's just like a matter of just doing it and prioritizing and executing. Frax has like a lot of things going on, a lot of things coming out. Fraxlight is imminent. Like they're just ending the code review very soon. Frax ETH is becoming a big thing, especially with the merge coming up. But like I think like we, So I think we can like rally community members, like especially like Crypto Condom, like going out to propose this and like other people in the Frax community to like lead like this Arbitrum charge.
Yeah, and also Arbitrum, I believe, have their Nitro at the end of this month as well. So that could be a perfect time for Frax. You know, it's kind of tight now; it's a week away, but maybe Frax can come in and work with some of the partners that's going to be on Nitro and provide some liquidity then, because there are going to be a ton of activity on Arbitrum in a week. So you know.
Yeah. Exactly, and yeah, that's like everything for governance right now. Like I said, Frax doesn't exist in a vacuum. There's a lot going on. Some things aren't very smooth. Some things are, you know, potentially promising collaborations. You know, I've actually spoken with both like the GMX team, the Mycelium team. Like they're both very smart. They're both very capable. There's a reason why like GMX is like the most popular protocol, because they built like a really good damn protocol. So like I would be really excited, you know, to work with them. Same thing with Mycelium and Tracer, like everything they built. And you know, bullish Arbitrum, honestly, in general, and bullish rollups in general. Like,
yep.
Yeah. What are your thoughts?
Agree with everything you said, brother. It was a great governance roundup. I really liked it. I hope this is a segment that we keep going, because I think the community needs to stay updated. I love how we check the chain and we check the forums.
And that's chain, what we do. The forums. Yeah. This is Frax Check. Yeah. And so don't forget to subscribe to us on YouTube. We're almost at 600 subscribers, which is pretty dope. So let's keep those numbers coming up. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter and join our Telegram group at Flywheelpod. You can follow me on Twitter at DeFi Dave 22.
You can follow me at 0x_K.
And we'll see you next week.
Peace.